leaving corporations exactly 2 years ago. And here's my reflection, what I learned, the struggles, the achievements, the good days and the really bad ones, because we have it all, right? So exactly 2 years ago, on the 1st of January 2023, I quit the hotel industry, I would say, maybe not my corporate life. And because I spent 19 years in the hotel industry and I was up to here, I'm like, they can't teach me anything. I love my company so much. We had our ups and downs, but overall, I'm very grateful to this organization and the industry. But the reason I made that decision, and I knew it when I took up my last job, I said, guys, I'm going to do this for you. And after that, I'm out. So for me, it was, I'm leaving, but I just didn't know how long. And I took my last role with, I don't know how long I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay until I enjoy it. And that's what I did. The moment I started not enjoying it, for whatever reason, I gave my notice. And that was it. And the reason I left, because they couldn't teach me anything. I wanted to see something else. So it wasn't, oh, I hate the hotel industry, I hate this company. That wasn't the case. I got just super bored. I'm like, you guys can't teach me anything, and I want to see something else. So I left. I also went through, the first 6 months was very interesting. The first 2 weeks I slept, and I never sleep. So that was an interesting thing. And I realized that I worked from age of 16 when I started my apprenticeship, right? Like solid 30 years. And I never took a break. So if anybody dares asking me, why do you have gap on your CV, which I don't, because in the past 2 years I worked harder than anybody, or if I was at work, then I'm going to come after you, because I realized that I worked for 30 years solid, never took a break, always finished one job on Friday, and I started the second on Monday. So I slept for 2 weeks in January, 2 years ago. And after that, I'm like, okay, let's figure life out. I published my first book, but I also went through this breakup. I was kind of angry with my company because we had a little bit of a disagreement on something. And I'm like, why can't you just not do the right thing for your people? Not for me, it wasn't about me. Why can't you just do the right? I was disappointed in the company, and that felt really bad because I love that company. So it was like a disappointment in your husband, And this company's been in my life for 17 years or so, 16 and a half. So for me, it was a big break. I'm like, they are my family, they literally, and I hate this narrative. I'm like, all I know is them in life, but I had to distance myself. It was extremely hard because it was so easy to go back, suck back into this. In April that same year, I almost went back because they offered me a job. And I'm like, no, I can't. No. Sorry, I'm having a cup of tea. And so the first year was literally a breakup. The first year went, okay, what am I going to do? So what you are going to do when you are leaving any environment that you're comfortable with and manage to, you learned how to navigate the system, how to thrive and grow in large organizations, is what you realize that you have so much skill and you need structure. I needed structure. I always need structure. So I actually love going into the office because it gives me structure. Up until today, I wake up at the same time, 5 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock, I start working. Until 9, I do my gym, my breakfast, my reading, my writing. But 9 o'clock, I sit down. And today, I don't need to work the 8 hours, 9 hours. And when I finish my work, for example, 2 o'clock, I feel still bad that, no, you need to work until 5. Like the programming is still there. Now I don't need to but I still question myself, and I go, okay, let's go for a walk. I should not be walking, I should be working. I'm sure there is something I can do, but it's not necessary. So the first year was really finding my own routine, or keeping the old routine really. And learning not so much about how to manage the business, because that's one other thing that nobody ever teaches you, but really understand myself that, hey, I miss people, I miss teams around me, I miss going and spending time with the team and people. So that was for me a big struggle. Even today, I always said, like, if you give me the right job, I'm happy, but don't put me into large organizations, because what I realized during these 2 years that I like to make change. I like to be able to make changes. I like to be able to question things. I like to be able to do things that actually make sense. And large organizations don't provide that for you. You just do as you are told, and that's it. So first year is all about learning about yourself. And learning about yourself without this cushion, without this structure. You literally put out in the world, and now you have to stand on your own. And that's very difficult. Now, thanks God, I have always been very good with money. So the finances I never had to worry about. And I even, during the first year, I actually made enough money to cover all my expenses. So I didn't have to touch my saving. I have investment account, so it even actually made more money for me. Year 2, last year, I actually worked around, let's say, 4.5 months altogether. And I made the same amount of money, a little bit more, if I was working full time in my last job, for example. So making money is not difficult, and you don't have to work 24/7. And this with me not understanding how to run businesses, me being shit in selling things. I'm very good at my job, but I don't know how to talk to people, client, how to sell things. So you learn all that as you go along. And now, once again, going back, I'm very lucky that I didn't have to worry about finances, so that wasn't the pressure, and I had the time to figure things out. Even I'm now figuring out, I was 0 in 2 years ago, today I'm 1. So that's my level of doing business, right? But I have the skills. And the second thing I realized is that when you are coming out of these large corporations, you have so many skills, you have so much knowledge that are needed in medium and small organizations. So, I always said, what kind of a shit show is that here? We could do A, B, C, but do better. And then I entered as a consultant in helping talent and HR redesigning their structures. I saw that there are companies that they don't even have 5% of what we have, the shit what we have in large organizations, but obviously we have, And I'm like, oh my God. So that was an eye-opener for me, because I never seen anything else. And I managed to contribute to these companies with my corporate background, with my expertise, with my knowledge, and that felt really good. And that's why when I realized, I'm like, I don't want large, ready corporations, even if I ever go back to work for others, which has always been my intention, because I'm not the type of person want to build a company, run a company. I'm not interested. Even if I'm building something now, my mind is, how can I exit? It's not me, I like to do things, finish it, and move on with to the next project, for example. So, and it felt really good, and I understood myself that I don't want ready companies that don't need anything, don't want to change anything. They have everything in place, I want these other shit shows where they don't have anything, because that's exciting. Literally, this construction company in Abu Dhabi, they had nothing. I'm like, how do you even know these 750 people that you have them on their payroll? Because I just couldn't understand how they managed 750 people on literally almost one Excel sheet and no HR structure. That was, for me, is like, wow. But at the same time, for me, I get a shock. And then, okay, what do we do? These are the things that would, and I enjoy that. So that was really good learning for me, figuring out that, yes, that's why maybe I was very bored at my corporation, at my company, because we had everything, whether it works or not is a different discussion, but we had everything, and we didn't want to change anything. So it was just come here, do whatever. So we justify our salaries, but nothing that would make an impact on anything or anyone. And so then you have to learn. I learned that about myself. I also learned that networking, let's talk about networking a little bit, because, oh my God, you get so many bad advices. Oh Lord. And obviously when you don't know, when you are incompetent, you look for others. This is when you become a B player. I was actually a C player. I'm like, what? So I'm like, what others are doing? How are they doing it? And then you try to learn, and then you realize, oh my God. Then you realize that no, you don't have to show up for networking events, because those are the lonely consultants who are all there to sell their product. I'm like, if we are all there to sell ourselves and our products, then who are we selling? I'm like, this is the wrong audience. And then I realized that people who actually want to buy my product, my services, are busy business people. They don't hang around in networking event. So the networking for me, first of all, it doesn't suit my personality. I hate it with a passion. And I was very ambivalent. Is this a word? I know it's a word, but it's not what I mean. Anyway, I was very hesitant to even go to these events. I went to maybe 2 or 3, I'm not joking. And I said, yeah. I just looked at the people, who are these? So I'm an analytical, I'm a critical thinker, right? Who are these people? Okay, these are all consultants and people who are selling their products. So we are all selling it to each other. This is bonkers. So that was out. Then I realized that I needed to make connections with the decision makers. So these people actually who wanting to buy my services, they are busy professionals working hard, so I need to somehow reach them. So that was a really good learning for me, because social media and these posts, they always take you down these routes of networking and all that kind of mistakes. I tried emails, cold emails, which I hated. I stopped it after a short time. It just didn't feel right for me. That was last year in June or May or something. I'm like, I just hated the feeling. Like, I'm like, no, it's not me. So you go along, go on your journey and you figure out. And there is no such a thing as somebody come and tell me what to do. It's literally, the journey is about figuring life out. And it's a very interesting one. Not an easy one, because I think the greatest things I struggle with is I live alone. So I always thought that I'm introvert, but I'm not. I'm bang in the middle of my personality assessment. But I always thought that I don't need interaction with people. And because I was always amongst people, hundreds and thousands of people in the hotel industry, right? Guests, colleagues. So I was always surrounded by people. And that was like, each time when it was Friday, I'm like, thanks God, I don't need to see anybody for 2 days. And as I got some rest, I'm like, okay, I miss people. So for me, the 2 years, I think this is my greatest struggle, that I miss people. I like to be amongst people, maybe not every day, but I like people. And I like managing people. I like leading people. I like teaching people. I like to show things people, help them, So I like these kind of things. And that's what I can't do. I force myself 3 times a week to go and meet people. clients, or just to catch up with others, because I can go very antisocial. I'm very happy here at home, but I know it's not good for my mental health and all that. So I force myself. That I also built that routine, and you really need to be very you have to know what you want. Intentional. You have to be very intentional, because you know what's good for you, but maybe that's not how you feel, but you have to push yourself. With work, I have a very strong work ethic, so I never had a problem. I deliver my projects. I work 24/7. And yeah, I also learned that not to listen to others. Do what works for you, because what works for that person, it would not work for me. So it's not an easy. I think the strongest lesson was for me is that I was extremely smart with my finances previously, and that allowed me to get out of the hamster wheel and to figure things out. Because if I didn't have that, if I was not smart previously, I would still be there. And that's what I see in people, they can't get out because they just have so much responsibilities, and which I completely understand. But if you really want to break out, you need to have that cushion. So, these slogans, quit your job and something happen. Well, something will happen, you just don't know what. That's a stupid strategy. That's a no strategy. So I wouldn't recommend. Although some people thrive under this kind of pressure. I don't know. You need to know yourself. We figure things out when we get to the bridge. But we have also seen people whose lives have collapsed constantly. So just don't ruin, Sometimes it's better to be able to pay your bills, feed your kids, and send them to school than to be, and be miserable at work, than to be not to be able to do that, and then that will make you miserable even if you quit. So you need to decide for yourself. But yeah, 2 years on, one last lesson that I learned, that I see more and more how unfit I was for the corporate environment. I'm just like a square peg in a round hole, because the things I want to do, they will never allow me to do. I'm a critical thinker. They don't like that. I like to bring problems to the table. They don't want that, So I'm a problem solver. I like to solve problems. And I bring problems to the table because I want to solve them, not because I want to air the dirty laundry. You will never find out what happened between me and my company. And I just realized more and more, 2 weeks ago or something, somebody was saying, oh, she's a really good HR. We were in December, 3 weeks ago, before Christmas. We were on a meeting, and the CEO says, I have a really good HR, right? You like her? And I said, sure, but make sure I don't have to report to her during this project. Because maybe she's a nice person, but the level of competence and expertise is just, I'm not going to. I have been doing this for 19 years. I'm not going to do this. So you realize, and that's not arrogance. Confidence is not arrogance. So I realized how misfit I was in corporations. I did dim my lights, because you want to fit in, you have to fit in. You cannot just go around in these large organizations, and we all do it. And we learn how to do it, and we do it without, subconsciously, literally, like it's so automatic. And now that I raise myself out of it, and now I just see more and more how unfit I would be. If you want, I would play the game because I know how to do it. But I want to contribute. I want to make a difference. I want to change things. And the reason that they don't want that makes me an unfit candidate. I am very good with these medium companies that I'm helping because they are open. They don't live in these boxes, and they appreciate. So go to companies where they appreciate your talent, your skills, your knowledge, your expertise. And I learned that you can't even sell to everyone, right? Because I approached companies, I'm like, you need this because you just told me all your problems and I can do ABC. And they say, no, but we need this. I'm like, that's not going to happen. Don't waste your time on those people. I learned that maybe a year into the whole journey, that just don't try to sell to the person who will never buy, because the level can't even understand their problem. You understand their problem, but they don't see it. So just move on. Don't convince anybody. And yeah, I hope that helps for others. I don't know who is out there. But that's my summary. It's not an easy one. It has good days and bad days. But overall, the lesson is that, you discover yourself, you figure business out, you can always capitalize on your talent, skills, and knowledge that you bring from these large corporations and make a difference in smaller and medium-sized companies. And they appreciate it because they they can't sometimes hire the right people, they can't afford them, or whatever the reason is. And they appreciate. So go where you are appreciated, go where your skills and knowledge and expertise are valued. You're gonna learn about yourself things that you never knew. And it's a journey. There is no such a thing of somebody come and tell me what I need to do. No, you're just gonna have to go through it and learn constantly, try things. They won't work. But you just have to keep going. And because something will lead to something. I always believe in that. If you just stand still, that's never going to work out. Even if you're doing the wrong thing, just keep doing something, because you will learn something out of it, and that will lead to something else. So that's that. And then you will realize whether you want to go back, because maybe you were just not tired of corporations, but you were tired of that particular company or industry, or maybe you can transition to another and then find your place. I think sometimes we need to take ourselves out of or situations to figure out, do I actually like it or I don't like it? And that I also realized that about myself. I like the idea of going to work. I just don't like the big ones because I'm not a fit. As a consultant, I can, because I recommend things for them, and it's up to them if they implement it. But I like to make a difference, because what's the point of doing things when the result in absolutely nothing? So yeah, I hope this helps. And have a plan if you want to get out. Don't just quit. That would be my advice. Be prepared, at least financially, and be prepared that for maybe a few years you will be like, oh, figuring it out. You don't have a recipe for this. You don't have a recipe for anything. And so, some people, I struggled with it in year 1. Year 2, I was much better with this uncertainty. So, because these large structures, all they give you is certainty, right? Yes, these are the kids. A certainty, and that's very comfortable. And when you lose all that, literally the carpet is pulled from underneath your feet, then all of a sudden you're just hanging in the air and, okay, what am I supposed to do with my life? And then you need to stand your ground. Bye.